So they're very consistent. They are 18 plus, so no kids, no casinos, which a lot of people like.
Yeah.
And they are known for their cultural enrichment. So a lot of, educational talks about the places that you're visiting, history, tours, that sort of thing.
Welcome, travelers, to Elevated Escapes, a luxury travel podcast hosted by Mike and Kristen Their, a husband and wife team who approach adventures from different perspectives. Mike is all about world-class golf and the best that Disney has to offer, while Kristen's seeking wellness retreats and rich historical and cultural experiences. Together, they're big on high-end cruises, unforgettable destinations, and discovering incredible culinary moments. Join them as they explore the world, one elevated escape at a time. Now, your hosts.
Welcome to episode number 11 of the Elevated Escapes podcast, being recorded in sunny Sarasota, Florida. I'm your host, Mike, joined by my wife and co-host, Kristen. Good evening, Kristen.
Good evening, Michael.
I've got my NPR voice right now going. On occasion, I like to do my NPR voice.
Creeps me out.
Okay. What's going on?
Nothing. Excited about this topic.
Are you excited about this topic?
I am excited about this topic.
Okay. So as this show is coming out, the date that this show is coming out, we are in the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of our cruise, which we will be talking about next week. We'll be doing a cruise review. And then do you want to go away from talking cruising for a while? Or do you want to do our cruise review, do our last segment, and then move over to some other topics?
Yeah, I think we should do the last segment of the cruise stuff and then our cruise review.
You want to do that?
I think so.
That's fair.
And then we'll talk about maybe some land stuff.
Adventures by Disney, Nat Geo, all-inclusives.
Maybe some safari stuff.
You want to talk some safari stuff? Some like really cool safari stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe I can get somebody on to discuss safari stuff with us.
Ooh, that would be fun.
If any of our 7 listeners have done a crazy safari, reach out and let us know. We would love to have you on our show. We don't have much as far as compensation, but we will send you a bag of M&Ms that you can have while you're on the show. So reach out, either Mike or Kristen at Luxury Travel Advisors LLC.com, and we'll fit you into our busy schedule.
Well, if you're in the Sarasota area, Rhodey would be happy to give you some licks.
Certainly, if you're in the Sarasota studio, you could or in the Sarasota area, you can just come over to our studio, and Rhodey would be happy to give you some licks.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's time for a break. What do you think?
Good idea.
Good idea. I'm Mike.
And I'm Kristen of Luxury Travel Advisors, a husband and wife team.
Dreaming of your next unforgettable getaway? Let us turn those dreams into reality. From magical Disney vacations and luxury cruises to all-inclusive escapes, world-class golf retreats,
And once-in-a-lifetime adventures, we handle every detail so you can simply enjoy the journey. Personalized service, expert planning, and stress-free travel from start to finish. Your next escape starts here.
Contact us today and let your extraordinary vacations begin. We are back from break. This is episode number 11 of the Elevated Escapes podcast. I'm Mike, joined by my wife, Kristen. What is our topic today, you ask? We are going to talk river cruises, one of our favorite segments.
That's right. So we've been talking the last 2 shows about ocean cruising. Now we are moving inland to the winding waterways of the world.
The winding waterways of the world. Okay.
I like alliteration. Makes me happy. This is a segment that used to kind of be seen as what you did when you retired. I just left my corporate job after 40 years and the wife and I are going to go on a river cruise in Germany. but it's evolving. And there are a lot of lines now that are moving more toward wellness and active excursions and ultra luxury on the river. So, very exciting. And why do you think people like the idea of river cruising as opposed to ocean cruising?
I think first of all, I think you get to see everything as you're coming in and out. Where when you're on an ocean cruising, you're going out in the middle of the sea, so you're not really seeing much. So the rivers are just narrow. The major rivers in Europe are narrow, so you're going to be able to see a lot of things. Seems like there's just not necessarily a lot more to do, but you have a lot of different options. If you don't want to go on an expedition, you can just grab a bike and go tool around the city, or do some walking tours. Because a lot of the major ocean cruises, you're going to have to get onto a bus. And when we were in I'll never be able to pronounce that, but when we went to go see Vatican, I mean, that was a good hour bus ride. You're not getting off the cruise port and walking around because there's nothing there other than cruises, or cruise lines rather. Why else? Why
Well,
else
I
do
mean,
people like?
you're waking up in a city center every day.
Correct.
And it's, maybe a smaller city, maybe a city that you never thought you would go to, maybe a Strasbourg, France, or, Amsterdam, places that you're not going to typically on a larger ship. That being said, I think the number one player, the name that everybody knows is
Viking.
right.
That is the number one. That is, like you said, that is who everybody knows is Viking.
And yeah, they do ocean cruises as well, but I believe they started as a river cruise company. And the thing with Viking is, they're kind of the gold standard because they've been around for so long. It's
Everybody
a trusted
knows
name.
them. Yep, everybody knows them.
Their ships are pretty much identical for the most part. So if you've been on a Viking river cruise in Germany and you go on one in France, you're going to walk onto the ship and you're going to know what the layout is, and you're going to know what the restaurants are and what your suite's going to look like and where to find everything. They're beautiful ships. They've skin to chic is what they call it.
What does that mean?
So it's like light colors, neutral, modern, clean lines, functional space.
I do like the way Viking looks.
I do too.
I really do.
Yeah. So they're very consistent. They are 18 plus, so no kids, no casinos, which a lot of people like.
Yeah.
And they are known for their cultural enrichment. So a lot of, educational talks about the places that you're visiting, history tours, that sort of thing.
Which is what you're interested in.
Right. They're fairly inclusive. You get beer and wine and one shore excursion per port included in your fare. So, that being said, would you like to speak about AMA Waterways?
So AMA is the other player. They do a happy hour from what I understand.
It's called Sip and Sail.
Sip and Sail is what it's called. Susie did do her homework, which is always typical of you, right? Getting your homework done ahead of time.
Usually, yep.
So what is the Sip and Sail all about? It's typically when people are getting back from their land excursions, right?
Yep. So it's, kind of as you're leaving that day's port, they have a happy hour with complimentary cocktails.
I know they have a pianist a lot of times. They'll have some small. I mean, obviously, with a small river cruise and the number of people who are on those ships, you're not going to have the entertainment that you're going to have on an MSC or on a Carnival, Disney, what have you. But it's simple. They have a pianist. They usually have they might have a comedy act. They might have
like a little like jazz combo
yeah.
or a cellist or a violinist or something like little string trio.
Sure, yeah.
So AMA, their differentiator is they are known for being more active. They have onboard bicycles. They have wellness hosts. They do daily yoga and stretching classes. And they are leaning into kind of the multi-generational aspect of river cruising as well. They do have multiple included excursions in each port, and they offer different fitness levels. So you can do gentle, moderate, or active. So, say we go on a cruise with your aunt and uncle. We're in the same place, but we might choose to do the more active excursion where they might want the more moderate one.
Follow.
And it's just a pacing thing. So, maybe on the active one, you get to see a little bit more because you're walking a little quicker, but it's pretty much the same experience. It's just, targeted more for your fitness level, which I think is a nice option.
It is. It's a great option.
So AMA's one that I'm really excited about. Now,
which one is there one that's better for foodies?
They're both pretty good. I've heard that AMA's maybe a little bit better, but the wine choices on Viking are maybe a little bit better.
Right.
So it's very nitpicky.
It really is. It really depends on what you're looking for.
Right. There is another one that's kind of been around for a while. I am not familiar with them. I don't know anybody who's sailed with them. They're called Uniworld, and they are known for being an art gallery on the water. Opulent decor. So kind of going back to what we were talking about on the previous episode with velvet and chandeliers and original Picassos and that sort of thing.
What is an art gallery on water? Basically, you can buy art?
No, I don't think you can buy it, but it's more like maybe museum is a better descriptor.
Okay.
So you're walking down the hallway and there's a painting and there's a sculpture and there's some kind of a, photograph or whatnot. But there's just art kind of everywhere you look. And it's not, it's not what I colored on the kitchen table a couple of nights ago. It's very high-end, well-known artists featured on the ship.
So this is something that I think you would be interested in. Maybe a one and done just to check it out.
Yeah. Again, it's very, very high-end luxury. It's all-inclusive, like absolutely all-inclusive. They do some private after hours tours. They have access to certain things, certain landmarks. They also do what's called a masterpiece collection, which is an extra charge. So if you've kind of been there, done that with some of these, and you've done the private tours, well, now this is like the extra special private stuff. So like a 2 to 10 person group going to tour the BMW factory. I mean, really some crazy stuff that you can do with these things.
I don't know if I ever considered touring a BMW factory, but now that does sound intriguing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a BMW aficionado and you want to know how they put everything together,
how they make the sausage,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, something to think about. And now, there are some newer companies that are kind of getting into this space. There's Avalon Waterways, and they're known for their panorama suites. So they have floor to ceiling windows with a 7-foot slider. So you kind of get like an open balcony feeling, even though you don't really have outdoor seating. But the bed faces the windows, so you can watch kind of the world go by
Very nice.
without getting out of bed.
Very nice. I've seen a few. I'm not sure if Viking does, but I know Amma does, where they have that the bed facing
Mhm.
the outside, which is it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And I think that's one of the things too with some of these ships is like a French balcony or a Juliet balcony versus a full balcony.
Mm-hmm. I'm going back and forth because I don't know which one I'd rather have, because the full balcony is nice to be able to sit out and have coffee or a glass of wine if that's your
Mhm.
thing. But the French balcony is intriguing because now you can just open up the
Mhm.
window and be you could be sitting in bed and you have that fresh air
Mhm.
coming through. So depending on what the price is, if you're going to save significantly on a French balcony, I think I'd consider a French balcony. What about
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, definitely. Um I know on some of the ships, obviously they have the lower cabins that don't have any outdoor space. They just have the window kind of at the water line or just
Mhm.
above the water line, which is a significant savings. But I don't know how I would feel about that.
I agree. I have no fear of water. I
Right.
just don't know if I like being underneath. Seeing
Right.
underneath is gonna do it for me. No, I'd rather either have full or French balcony. I just made up my mind.
I was going to say you made that decision
Yeah, I
fairly
just made my
quickly.
mind up. Yep.
There's another line called Tauk, which started as a land tour company, and they branched out into river cruising. And because of their history, they have access to some really cool experiences. They keep their ships at about 130 guests. I think
It's a
Viking
nice
is maybe
number.
around 190. And so you get more space. They're all inclusive. They do, like I was reading something about they have an after hours private tour, like a cocktail reception in
Okay.
a privately owned castle, and you meet the nobility who live there. And if that's your thing, that's pretty cool.
Yep, not my thing.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's your thing. I'll take a pass on that. I'll be still hanging out at the BMW factory doing that tour, seeing how they put the tires on.
But so they're kind of known for their shore excursions and the seamlessness of how that stuff runs. And I think with their experience in the land tours, sometimes with river cruises, depending on the height of the river and whether they're in a drought or not, there are times where maybe the river's not navigable to get into a certain port that was scheduled.
And that
so
can happen from time to time. And I know a lot of these cruise ships, are they river cruise, whatever we want to call them,
cruise lines.
our cruise lines are, familiar. They run into it quite often.
Mhm.
And it's just a matter of how they handle it. I know a lot of times, sometimes they'll just have another similar ship meet you upriver,
Mhm.
and you just basically disembark, get on some land transportation buses, and they'll take you to the next ship. Depending on how big of a drought there is, you could do a combination of land and river, where they're
Mhm.
going to put you on a motor coach, and they will get you to all the destinations. You will do all of your, you're going to do your entire itinerary, but sometimes
In
in
most
most cases. But yeah, sometimes they're going to have to throw you on a motor coach and
Yeah.
bring you to the next port.
But I think I don't know if we were watching a video. Somebody said that they actually took one of the bikes. It must have been an Amma.
It was an
They
Amma.
took a bike from the port that they went to the next port. And so instead of getting back on the ship to go, they just biked, which I thought was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
I don't know that I would be that confident to do that, but if you're a good bicyclist,
Mhm.
why not?
And a lot of the Euros are bicyclists.
Right.
Kind of a generalization, but you know what I mean.
It's a more common mode of transportation just
Right,
because of
right.
the accessibility.
Right, in the narrow streets. Yeah, that was in scooters, or
Right.
you don't see many SUVs over in Europe. Now, AMA Waterways is also the preferred line for Adventures by Disney. So if you're doing an Adventures
Correct.
by Disney
River cruise.
river cruise, they do partner up with AMA Waterways.
That is true.
Little known fact.
Yeah. Little extra
Got
Disney
my-
perks when
of
you do
course, I
that.
have my
But
Disney knowledge, right?
yeah, naturally. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting is that a lot of times when you're in these ports, you have these ships from different lines kind of moored together.
What do you mean?
So you'll have, say you're on a Viking cruise and you get to Strasbourg first. So you get to the dock and now here comes the AMA Waterways ship. Well, there's only one dock. So the AMA ship.
So
will
it's not
tie
like
up.
the multiple when you're on an ocean cruise,
Right.
where MSC is here,
Right.
Vikings here,
Right. Where they have
Disney.
multiple docks available.
Gotcha.
These cities may only have one dock or two docks available to these ships. So they actually tie up next to one another. So you might actually walk through a different ship to get out onto land, which is kind of an interesting
That is
concept.
interesting. That is very interesting.
But maybe a good way to check out some other, oh, hey, this one looks pretty nice.
Yeah, maybe next time I'm going to do the Viking and vice versa.
Right. There's another one that we watched a video on. It's called Riverside. And they're a newer player as well. Their flagship ship is called the Mozart. And it is twice as wide as the standard river cruise ships. So they have massive suites. They've got an indoor pool. They've got some really cool options.
Yeah, because that's probably the only drawback is it's a very small footprint. So your rooms are considerably smaller than what you're going to have on an ocean cruise.
Yeah.
If you're just getting the standard suite, which most of us are going to be in, that's the accommodations that we're going to all sign up for. But with that being said, again, you're not going to be in your cabin a ton,
right?
Because you're going to be off the boat during the day. You're going to be hanging out, having dinner, doing that happy hour if you're on AMA, and taking in some of the live entertainment. So,
well, and depending on some, how long you're in port, the distance from one port to another. I mean, sometimes you're actually in port pretty late. So you can actually go and have dinner in the city. Or, go to a wine bar after dinner or whatever the case may be, especially like with the Christmas markets.
Yeah.
You see some of them getting back to the ship pretty late, which looks like fun. And now, river cruising traditionally has been kind of a European thing, but there are companies now that are venturing afield, shall we say. So they're doing trips in Asia. They're doing river cruises in Egypt and in Africa and down in South America and even right here at home on the Mississippi.
Definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, though, and only Viking does the Mississippi River cruises.
On a traditional ship, there is a paddle wheeler called the American Queen that does a Mississippi River cruise.
Now, when you were saying that river cruises are primarily in Europe, did you also know where most of their clients come from? Is United States.
Yeah.
So that's why they lean heavily on travel agents to talk about their product, because a lot of their business comes primarily from the United States, which is crazy to me because it's just such a pain to have to fly over there. You would think if you were in Paris and a river cruise is in your backyard, that I would just think that you would get most of your clients in your backyard.
But maybe they don't have the interest in it because it's just their,
because it is in their backyard.
you know,
might,
it's their history and their
That's
culture.
true.
And they're like, well, I can just get in the car and drive to this place. I don't need to get on a ship and pay, $2,000 or $4,000.
But now I'm going to have to research, because are the people who do the Mississippi primarily from other parts of the world other than the United States?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. That is something that I am going to task you to follow up.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds
Do you
great.
like it when I task you?
Not particularly. No. What was the other one that you saw? They had one that went through the Great Lakes that looked pretty cool. Was that Viking?
I believe it was. It did do the Great Lakes.
So a lot of really cool options out there.
Yeah. What's on your list? We always talk about our bucket list and our dream list. Did you want to do?
I mean, Christmas markets.
Christmas markets,
That's
number one.
The number one.
You wanted to do that Adventures by Disney. How do you pronounce it? The Rhine, or is it the Rhone?
Well, they're both rivers, so
No,
I don't
but
remember which one it was.
No, yeah, okay. I know, yeah. That was on your list.
Then my list is very long.
So you would say Christmas market is
probably number one. I'm just worried about the cold. I'm not used to being cold anymore.
You'll be fine. You go to Rhode Island in December and January, so you'll be fine.
That's what the glue vine's for.
Is that why they do the warm wine, so it keeps your body warm? Because alcohol keeps you warm to begin with.
Right. I would assume so. I don't know. Do you need me to research that as well?
Do you want me to we call it task. That is the corporate word for it. I'm going to task you with that.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Final thoughts?
No, would you want to do, because I'm with you, Christmas market is number one. Would you want to do a Mississippi?
In theory, I think it would be cool. It's pretty far down my list, if I'm honest.
I think, and I've never seen them go all the way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul. I think if you had like full days, so St. Louis, especially like if you're a sports fan, you could get in a St. Louis Cardinal game. You could get in a Minnesota Twins game. You could kind of bundle that around baseball or golf. I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm with you. It's not high on my list. They're relatively expensive.
Right.
Compared to some of the river cruises that you're going to see in Europe. I think some of the Vikings that we're looking at for the Mississippi were in the $12,000 to $14,000 range.
Were they?
Yeah, they're very expensive.
I've been to Minneapolis. I've been to St. Louis.
True. True that.
If I'm going to New Orleans, I want way more time in New Orleans than I'm going to get on a river cruise. So.
Yeah, I understand. Would you like me to wrap us up?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The @ Travel MNKANDK. Our YouTube is Travel with Mike and Kristen. All of our social media links will be in our show notes. And join our Facebook group, Travel with Mike and Kristen. For my co-host, Kristen, I'm Mike. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again soon.
Good night.